Have you ever ended a conversation and felt the other person suddenly turn cold, distant, or simply uninterested in continuing? Maybe you've wondered, why don't they want to open up more? Why did that moment, that connection fade so quickly? The answer isn't always in what you said. It's often hidden in how you listened, how you reacted to every word, every pause, every sigh. There are subtle habits, almost invisible, that we repeat without realizing. Tiny behaviors that quietly erode connection, drop by drop. In this video, I'll show you 5 common conversation habits, harmless at first glance, yet powerful enough to make people pull away from you, or at least trust you a little less. And the 5th one, you'll be surprised almost no one talks about it, yet it has the biggest impact of all. Then, we'll uncover how the Stoics approached communication with calm, clarity, and the rare power to make others feel respected simply by being present. Let's begin. Habit 1. Interrupting other people's stories. When someone begins to speak, they're opening a door, letting you step into their world, their story, their emotion. But then, you jump in. "Oh, I've been there too, let me tell you about my trip." You think you're connecting, but in truth, you've just taken the stage. Their story stops mid-air, and the spotlight shifts straight to you. What they feel in that moment is not connection, but interruption. Their experience was cut short, their voice overrun. In psychology, this is called conversational narcissism, the unconscious pull to drag every dialogue back toward yourself, instead of letting it breathe around the other person. When you interrupt, even unintentionally, what you're really saying is, "My story matters more than yours," and that quietly kills connection. The listener feels unseen, unheard, unvalued. They stop sharing. They start shortening their thoughts. And slowly they learn that opening up to you doesn't feel safe anymore. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "No one is admired for listening to himself speak, but all respect the one who listens to others." So how do you break this habit? You practice another one, active silence. When someone speaks, truly listen. Don't plan your reply. Don't wait for your turn. Be fully present, as if nothing else exists but that voice in front of you. When they finish, ask something that deepens their story. What part of that trip stayed with you the most? That one question tells them you care. When they pause, acknowledge before responding. "Your story was so vivid, I could almost feel that moment with you." And when you finally share your own experience, start with, "Listening to you reminded me of the time I..." It continues the rhythm without stealing the stage. A Stoic knows how to restrain the ego's impulse to speak. They hold the urge inside and direct attention outward. When others talk, they train their mind to stay still, not to wander toward, "What should I say next?" You can even practice self-observation. Notice the impatience rising in you, the urge to jump in, the restless hands wanting to move. Then take a slow breath. Let it pass. Let them finish first. Because every time you choose silence, you're not just respecting them, you're strengthening yourself. Habit 2. Giving advice when no one asked. Most people with good intentions want to help. When someone says, "I'm stressed at work," your mind instantly builds a list. Meditate, exercise, take a break, quit that job. You want to fix things. You want to be useful. It sounds noble, but to someone in pain, those words can cut like a blade. Because they don't need advice. They need understanding. Seneca once said, "Not everyone needs advice. Many only need a heart that listens." The other person may not want solutions, not yet. They just want space to feel, to speak, to be heard. But when you rush in with your advice, they might hear something else. "You don't trust me to think for myself." And just like that, a friend turns into a teacher. A listener becomes a lecturer. Advice is a strong medicine, only give it when asked. Otherwise, it makes people feel small, incapable, and judged. A Stoic knows not every situation must be fixed. They respect another person's freedom to find their own path. In Stoic thought, there's a sacred space between wanting to help and forcing help. You train patience. Sometimes, true help means doing nothing, just being there. You accept that not every problem needs your voice sometimes. Empathy is enough. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself daily, before correcting others, ask if you have understood them completely. So, how does a Stoic respond? Before speaking, pause. Ask yourself, do they even want my opinion? Then, simply ask, do you want me to just listen, or would you like me to share a few thoughts? If they welcome your insight, say, I've been through something similar. I learned a few things if you'd like to hear them. But if they only want to be heard, listen. Nod. Ask gentle questions. Be present, because when someone opens up, they're unlocking their heart. And if you rush in with advice, you're closing that door again. When you say softly, I understand that must be hard, you give them something far greater than advice, you give them safety. That is empathy, not pity. And in Stoic philosophy, empathy isn't an emotional reaction, it's a conscious act of understanding. Habit 3. Pointing out other people's contradictions. When someone says one thing and does another, it's tempting to call it out. You said you were eating healthy, and now you're grabbing pizza? You think you're just being honest. But what they hear is judgment. Humans aren't consistent machines. We change our minds. Life changes our circumstances. Sometimes, we just fail to live up to our own ideals. When you point out that contradiction, it's like a tiny blade. A small cut that makes their pride bleed. You believe you're being truthful, but in truth, you're putting ego above empathy. Epictetus once said, do not rush to correct others. They are learning how to live just as you are. People don't grow in straight lines. Today they stumble, tomorrow they rise again. When you judge too soon, you block the path they're walking on. So instead of saying, I thought you were on a diet, say, I can see you're still trying. That's what matters. In Stoic philosophy, kindness always comes before cleverness. A Stoic doesn't rush to expose flaws. They understand that people are in motion, not finished. They keep compassion first and let small contradictions slide. Because a truly strong person has no need to correct others. They simply look in the mirror and stay silent. When you catch yourself pointing out little mistakes, remember, it's not about their inconsistency. It's about your discomfort with imperfection. Train your mind to accept it, to let people change, to let them be human just like you. Habit 4. Downplaying other people's efforts. When someone shares an achievement, finishing a tough project, learning something new, pushing through fear, you respond lightly. That's nothing. Anyone could do that. You think you're being humble, or maybe comforting them. But what they hear is, what you did doesn't matter. And in that moment, their excitement fades. They stop feeling seen. They stop sharing what's good in their life. Because why bother if every time they open up, it's brushed aside? Marcus Aurelius once reminded himself, see each person as a warrior fighting their own private battle. What seems small to you may be someone else's entire world. A Stoic never diminishes another person's effort, because they understand how fragile human motivation can be. One careless sentence can dim the light in someone's eyes. Seneca wrote to Lucilius, when you lift another up, you raise yourself as well. If you want respect, learn to make others feel valued. When someone shares a small victory, say, you did really well. I can see the effort behind that. That sentence doesn't make you weaker, it makes you stronger. Because in that moment, you've conquered envy and chosen grace. A Stoic focuses on effort, not applause. When others share success, they see the process, not just the result. Their words reflect recognition, not comparison. Train yourself not to rush into minimizing what others do. Respect their work. Understand that every effort, no matter how small, carries its own quiet nobility. Habit 5. Always needing to correct others. Someone says, "That happened last Tuesday," and you jump in, "Actually, it was Wednesday." You tell yourself, "I'm just being accurate." But what you've really said is, "Even your smallest mistakes aren't safe around me." When you correct every detail, what you communicate isn't precision, it's pressure. You make people feel like the conversation isn't a space for connection, but for inspection. Sometimes, being right isn't what matters. Sometimes, being kind is. The Stoics understood this deeply. Truth doesn't need to be shouted in every conversation, because often being right is just another disguise for the ego. Seneca once wrote, "A steady mind does not need to prove itself right in every detail. It does not fight with arguments, it stands firm in calmness." Some people can't stand even the smallest mistake, because deep down, they fear losing control. But in communication, choosing silence over correction is a sign of strength, not weakness. So the question is, when should you correct, and when should you let it go? If the mistake changes the meaning, you can gently say, "I think you might have mixed up the day. Want me to check it with you?" If it doesn't matter, let it slide. Keep the flow alive. "That's awesome. Keep going." Always choose connection first, correctness second. Stoicism teaches us not to drown in trivial details. You can stay silent on small errors because what you value isn't victory, but harmony. You train yourself to release that craving that need to be right when it adds no real value. You choose grace over ego, peace over precision. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "If others are wrong, correct them gently. If they refuse to listen, bear it gently. Let others be wrong, they are still learning. And let yourself be right by staying silent." Because in a world where everyone wants the last word, the one who knows when to stop speaking is the one with true inner power. Conclusion. The Stoic art of connection. Remember this: don't interrupt. Don't correct. Don't judge. Don't downplay. And don't always need to be right. These habits live below awareness. We do them without realizing, yet they slowly erode trust, connection, and the safety every real conversation needs to grow. The Stoic principle is simple: respect, curiosity, recognition. If every time you speak, you lead with respect, letting others finish their story. If you bring curiosity, wanting to understand, not to win. And if you offer recognition, seeing the effort behind someone's words, then the chance you'll fall into those old patterns becomes smaller every single day. The Stoics never spoke to dominate, they spoke to understand. They didn't seek victory, they sought clarity. They didn't talk to be admired, they spoke to bring peace, both to others and to themselves. Seneca once said, "If your words do not make life better, let silence do it." And Marcus Aurelius left us with a truth worth carrying today. Let your words reflect the stillness of your soul. Because in the end, people won't remember what you said. They'll remember how they felt in your presence. If they felt calm, it's because you've learned to speak less and live more. That is the Stoic art of communication. And no, we won't be perfect. But with each small step, each conversation shaped by patience and respect, you become someone people trust. Someone they want to open up to. Someone they want to keep in their life. If this message spoke to you, take a second to breathe and practice one Stoic habit in your next conversation. And if you want to keep growing on this journey, subscribe, share this video with someone who needs peace in their words, and join us here each week as we train the mind and calm the soul. Leave a short comment below. Just write, "I'll speak less and listen deeper." Capi. That one sentence is where your Stoic practice begins.